Alrighty, chemistry class. So, for this week's Virtual Wednesday, what we are going to do is we are going to go through a number of items on scientific notation as well as significant figures, okay? By watching this video and having corrected the work that I assigned you, then I will know, because I'm going to route this video through Edpuzzle. And so what will happen is if you complete this entire video, right, then you will have completed what I needed you to do for Virtual Wednesday. I will know it, okay? So here we go. So we already did a whole bunch of scientific notation problems, but I am going to work through a few just to be sure. So on number 5, on page 5, okay, let's do number, 15, okay? So number 15, again, I'm just kind of picking some random ones. I have some advisory students in the room whom I may even, speak with along the way. But 0.0004963 times 10 to the negative 4. And this wants us to put it in proper scientific notation. So the first thing I would do is I take it out of it, right? Because this is not properly formatted. And so something to the negative 4 means I'm moving the decimal 4 places to the left, doesn't it? So it'll be 1 plus 3 more, okay? So what that number is going to become is 0.00000004963, okay? And so in order to write this properly in scientific notation or exponential form, all right, you would put it right there, wouldn't you? And so 4.963 times 10 to some power. Now, it's going to get smaller, isn't it? So anytime it gets smaller and moves to the left, it's a negative decimal. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this is 4.963 times 10 to the negative 8. Okay? Continuing down, let's see. Let's do number 22. So number 22. So it's 9204 times 10 to the 5th. 9204 times 10 to the 5th. And again, this isn't a properly formatted scientific notation, okay? So what ends up happening here is if we wrote this as a number, we would move it 5 places to the right, so it would become 9204 with 5 zeros, okay? So it would be 920,400,000. But remember, in order to be able to use scientific notation, we got to have a number between greater than 1 and less than 10. And so it would be right there, wouldn't it? So it would be 9.204 times 10 to the power of something. It gets bigger, so therefore it's positive. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And this would be times 10 to the positive 8. Okay? All right, down below, you had some addition, subtraction stuff that we dealt with. Okay? So you're going to see, let's do one of those. Okay? It'll be number 3 down below. Let's do that one. Now the big thing that you need to make sure you do is you need to make sure you put these in your calculators properly. We talked about that in class, okay? But for number 3, we have 9.21 times 10 to the negative 5 centimeters. And that is being multiplied by 1.83 times 10 to the positive 8 centimeters. Now, when you put this in your calculators, the big thing is just making sure you use the times 10 to part correctly, or use the E key like I said that I like to do. I like to put in 9.21 E negative 5. It's up to you though. If you have a calculator and you have a good system, I don't care what you use, as long as you're getting the right answers. And so when I do this, I get 1.69 times 10 to the positive 4. Now what I really want to note about this is centimeters.
7th and 8th graders interested in joining the robotics team?
Square.
Meet in room 121 during the divided hour.
1.69 times 10 to the 4, and that's centimeters squared. Centimeters times centimeters is centimeters squared. All right, hopefully you're going to be able to look at the answer for pages 5 and 6 now, because I want to spend the bulk of our time on page 8. So let's flip over to the significant figures problem which was on page 8. Let's see. Where are those? All right, so right here, again, you're gonna have a key, okay? I'm gonna send you pictures that have the key for all of these pages. So the first thing I would do is I would pause this video right now, and I would go through and I'd check your answers for page 8, okay? So pause right now and do that. Hopefully you paused, all right? And now let's go through a few of them, okay? For 1 through 20, I feel like those are just following the rules, okay? So it's not where I want to spend the bulk of our time. I'm going to do more stuff on 21, 22, 23, and 24. So with 21, it says round each of the following numbers to 3 significant figures, okay? So this is where like significant figures are awful and challenging, because it says round to 3 significant figures. So 4325 is our first one, right? Well, remember, I told you numbers still exist, right? But, so a lot of my students, what they want to do is they want to say, yes, that's a significant figure. There's your 1, there's 2, there's 3. They want to take the 5, right? And they'll say, okay, that rounds up because it's a 5. And they'll want to give me the answer of 433, right? That is significantly different from your original number, right? Remember, numbers still exist. And so what we end up knowing is this. So according to rule number 5, if there is no decimal, zeros are not significant, right? And so that is not actually the correct way to do this. 4325, the 5 would indeed round the 2 up. But what ends up happening then to get to 3 significant figures is if you have a 0 here with no significant figures, or no decimal, that is a significant figure, yes, yes, and no. Therefore, you have 3 significant figures in your answer. The answer is 4,330. Letter B, okay? 6.873 times 10 to the third. So here's the first time where I'm teaching about significant figures in scientific notation, and they're pretty easy, and it's this. The part that comes before the time symbol is all that matters for sig fig reasons. Okay? And so this just becomes a rounding thing. Just like, or it's way easier than A. So 6 is a yes, 8 is a yes, 7 is a yes. We're asked to round to 3 significant figures. So a 3 is less than a 5, therefore it leaves the number the same. Therefore, the 3 significant figures, it's 6.87 times 10 to the third. And that's the correct answer. Okay? C. Again, this is just one where 0.17354, 3 significant figures, okay? This is a leading 0, so it's not a significant figure, so no. That is your first one, that is your second one, this is your third. How does a 5 affect a 3? It rounds it up. Therefore, it's 0.174. Okay? D, 7.89. E is just, again, a scientific notation, 9.24 times 10 to the negative third. And then let's look at F together. 0.0299817. Okay, so 3 sig figs. Well, leading zeros are not significant, folks. So this is your first one, 299. Now, the 8 is bigger, so it would round up, wouldn't it? So what ends up happening in this one is very weird. You have 0.0. This would round this rounds this, and rounds this. It's like, it's multiplicative, right? And so what ends up happening here is we end up with a 3, okay? Because we're rounding and round. So you do not want to compound round unless it forces you to. Got that? So we need 3 sig figs, don't we? And so what ends up happening is trailing zeros are a yes. So this is a yes, these are no's because they're leading zeros. So 0.0300 is the answer, okay? All right, number 22, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, but let's switch to number 23, because number 23 is like where the rubber meets the road, right? Number 23 is difficult. So in number 23, it says express the following, okay, numbers in standard exponential form, meaning scientific notation if needed, with the indicated number of significant figures. So for letter A, it has 1,000, and the number of sig figs it's looking for is 2 sig figs, okay? This is tricky then, isn't it? Because as written, it's got 1 sig fig. If I put a decimal, it's now got 4. So the only way that I can express 1,000 with 2 significant figures is it forces you to do scientific notation. Absolutely forces you to. Here's why. So 1.0, I think we would all agree, has 2 significant figures. The 1 is a significant figure, and this is a trailing 0. Trailing zeros are a yes. So what ends up happening is I can express this times 10 to some power to get to this, and that's what you had to do. It's 10 to the third, right? 1, 2, 3. This has 2 significant figures, and it means 1,000. It's the only answer. So sometimes what I'm trying to point out to you is significant figures requires scientific notation. That's why I taught scientific notation to you first. B is 43,927. Okay, and it's asking you for 3 sig figs. So here we go. Okay, so what ends up happening is yes for the 4, yes for the 3, yes for the 9. And so we look at how the 2 impacts that. And so what we end up looking at or saying here is, again, we can't, like back on letter A, remember how we couldn't just lop off numbers. But what we can do is we can round and we can have not significant zeros that help us get to the answer. So 3 significant figures, we keep the 4, we keep the 3, the 9 stays the same, but that becomes a 0, and that's a 0. And if we don't put a decimal after it, we get 1, 2, 3 significant figures, which satisfies the criteria for letter B. Letter C, okay? It says we want 3 significant figures in 0.000280. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. It also wanted you to do this in scientific notation according to the rules. It says exponential form. So this ends up being 4.39 times 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4. That's actually the answer. Letter C, all right, it wants you to do 0.000286, right? And it wants you to do it with 3 significant figures. Well, it would be right there, wouldn't it? There's 3 sig figs already, so that's 2.86, 1, 2, 3 significant figures times 10 to the power of 1, 2, 3, negative 4. And then letter D, okay, is just a bunch of stuff, 0.00004 zeros, 98765. That becomes 9.8765 times 10 to the power of, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to the left to make it smaller, therefore negative 5. Okay? Number 24 wants you to just express those. I think you can check that over. So, that would complete, by watching this video and correcting your work for the pages that you were assigned yesterday in class, you have met the criteria for today. Again, I'm going to route this through Edpuzzle. I will be able to see a percentage of the video you watched. It must say 100%. Thank you very much. Happy Virtual Wednesday.